is up? It's your girl Gracetorie, and I'm back with a whole new podcast episode. I have literally filmed this whole episode on my camera and then it died, and I had a lot going on where like my mom called me and there's just a lot of interruptions, which is fine. But now I'm filming on my phone. I actually am pretty sick right now. I'm on quite a few antibiotics, so if I sound a little stuffy or I'm not as energetic as usual, that's why. But as you know, I upload on every Sunday and Wednesday, and I was not going to break that promise with you guys, so I am back. As you know, if you follow me on my Instagram, I thought about doing a Q&A this week, and then I talked about doing a video on how to romanticize your life. But then I ended on the idea of talking about lessons I learned in college, as well as some advice for the incoming college students. I know that a lot of students are leaving for college, so I wanted to get this video out to hopefully give you some advice going into this new school year, as well as tell you some lessons I learned that hopefully are relevant for you. So I do have my laptop because I'm using my phone to film. As I mentioned, I did not charge my camera battery. I know I charged it last week and then I just totally dropped the ball this time, but it's okay. We're a little bit lower quality. Hopefully the sound is still good, but let's go ahead and jump on into it. So the first lesson I have is one that my mom told me my freshman year, and it didn't really sink in until my junior year. And when it did, I think that it was life-changing. And I've talked about it a little bit, but it's okay to be a little selfish. And what I mean by that is I went to college about an hour away from my home. I was dating someone from back home, my family was home, and I was going home every weekend and I was making promises to them. But in the process, I was kind of not honoring myself and allowing myself the opportunity to grow and explore. So I needed to set boundaries and say, hey, I can't come home this weekend. And, you know, maybe put things with them on the back burner and not commit to so much so that I could give myself the ability to make new friends and explore new organizations or clubs or opportunities that would allow me to find myself. I'm so sorry if you hear my dog. She's literally downstairs on the other side of the house, so I don't know who she's talking to, what she's talking about. She's on some crack mode. But basically what I'm saying is selfish and selfless are a balancing act, and finding somewhere in between is the best place to be, as I've mentioned. But in college, it's okay to be a little bit more selfish because you're finding yourself. So you need to set a little bit more boundaries and give yourself time to do that. It's okay. This is probably the only time in your life where you're going to be able to be that, have that little responsibility to go out and hang out with your friends and stay out late. So take advantage of that. The next lesson I learned is you won't grow if you stay in your comfort zone. So this is kind of talking a part two to the first one. If you go home every weekend and every chance you get, you go back to your comfort zone, whether that's friends, family, maybe you didn't leave for college and you stay in your parents' house and you don't bother to make new friends or have new experiences, you're not gonna grow. You're really just gonna stay the same. Or if you do grow, it's gonna be very slow. It can get stagnant. So in my opinion, the best way to experience college, I genuinely feel you're doing yourself a disservice if it's possible for you to go away to college, even if it's a half an hour, an hour, just give yourself some space, and you don't choose to do that and you choose to stay home. I understand that there's some situations where you need to do that, and that's totally fine. But if you have the opportunity and you decide that you would rather just stay home with your family, I get it. But I also feel like you're not maximizing your growth or giving yourself the best experience that you could possibly have, where you're gonna really just find out who you truly are. And I genuinely believe that if you just stay in your comfort zone, you're not gonna experience the growth that you're capable of. The next lesson I learned is you won't remember getting to class on time. It's the memories outside of class that count. So say that you have an 8 a.m. and your friends want you to go to dinner with them. You're gonna remember that dinner more than you're gonna remember getting to class on time. And I'm not saying to get to class late. It's more of the analogy, or I don't know what the word is. I haven't had English class in a very long time, but you know, that you're still gonna get to class on time, but you're not gonna remember that. You know what you're gonna remember? You're gonna remember going to the small diner in your college town with your friends, and you're gonna remember, you know, going out for Halloween with them. You're gonna remember all of my memories from college. I can tell you very few of them are in the classroom, and the ones that are were with my friends, and I don't think any of them were from sitting there writing notes. They were all from crazy experiences that we got to have because our program is so amazing. But pretty much all of my memories were outside of the classroom, every single one. It's more, college is more for the experience itself than for the classes. You can get those classes online and you're still gonna learn, but I think the biggest disservice you can do to yourself aside from staying at home is thinking that college is about the classes. It's not. It's about the life experience you're gonna gain, and until you push yourself to be independent, you're not gonna gain it. The next lesson I learned is stay on campus as much as possible. Go to football games, basketball games, etc. Get involved. Just find ways to stay on campus. If you are someone like me who could not stay on campus and just lay in bed, I had to be doing something, there's always something going on campus. If you go to UK, I think they recently closed it, or they might have recently reopened it. There's a movie theater though. I mean, there's so many good places to eat. We have a library you can go study at. Get out of the classroom, or get out of your dorm and find reasons to stay on campus. Push yourself to make friends, and then you're gonna have bonfires and so many exciting things that you would need to stay on campus to go to. But push yourself to stay there, get out of your comfort zone, make friends. And a great way to do that, I think I met all of my friends through either Greek life or the dressage team. So I rode for UK's dressage team. I was actually the vice president for a minute. But I made every single friend through those two things. It wasn't just because I was sitting at the library. I did make a few friends through that, I think, but the friends that I still have that lasted, it was literally from Greek life or being involved on campus, and every other friend just kind of was a friend of a friend. So I met them through the friends I already made. Hi, Evie. My dog is coming to say hi. But what I'm saying is, you know, there's so many campus organizations. Our campus had a squirrel watching club. We had a Harry Potter club. There was a class on vampires. I mean, anything you could possibly be interested in, they had a club for it. So don't be afraid to get involved in organizations. It's a really easy way to make friends that have the same interests as you. And then once you make friends, it's going to be really easy to stay on campus and find fun things to do. And, you know, we would text each other and say, hey, I'm going to get food in 10 minutes. Come join me. And that's as easy as it is. I personally have a really hard time making friends. Like, genuinely, I have such a hard time making friends. But this was honestly the best way to do it. It was easier for me to make friends. I felt more comfortable. So I highly recommend it. Another lesson is being in a romantic relationship does not define you. So if you are someone who is single, love being single, and that's when things are going to fall into place. Don't let your relationship define who you are, because this is a time in your life. Both of my dogs are panting. Hold on. But if you are single, love being single, and that's when things are going to fall into place. If you are constantly wanting to be in a relationship, it's going to feel like things are not working out, I promise you. But the minute that you start loving single and loving who you are, that's when everything's going to fall into place. And if you are in a relationship, be very careful to not let that relationship define you as a person. Okay, I had to put the dogs outside because they were driving me crazy. But what I'm saying is, when you are in college, it's a very big exploratory time where you're trying to find out who you are, where you fit in, if your values are actually your values, or if there's something that was just kind of pushed on you growing up. There's a lot of things that go into your growth in college. So if you are in a relationship, it's very important to separate your views from theirs and understand that you both are growing individually, and maybe that means you guys will stay together in the long run, and maybe it won't, and that's totally fine. But don't let their beliefs push off onto you, and be careful to understand that you guys are on different paths. And I don't know, just give yourself a little bit more space. This is a very important time for learning, for growth, and it's okay to be in a relationship that whole time, but just be very aware of what the situation is and what it requires, if that makes sense. The next thing I want to mention is make time to become your own person, reflect, and take care of yourself. So make sure to give yourself alone time, and just make sure that you are taking time to reflect on things that have happened, how you feel about certain things, whether that's journaling, meditating, going for a walk with your dog. Just take time to take in everything that has happened, whether it's big or small, good or bad, and understand how it affects you and what you can do about it moving forward. So there's times where this was amazing and there's times where this wasn't so great, but basically what I would do is I would just practice self-care by taking a shower, having nights where I would where I would put on a mask and a face mask is what I mean by that, and some moisturizer, and just, go to bed and meditate. And this was my night to just kind of reflect on everything that's happened, maybe cleanse your energy if you're into that, but basically just make sure that you're taking time to recharge and reflect, because it could be a lot at once and you'll need that to make sure that you are staying grounded and being true to who you are. Also, if some of this doesn't make sense or I say something and you're just like, wait, what? It's because I'm sick. So I'm doing my best here, guys, but yeah, it's been a struggle between the dogs and my camera dying, but we're gonna get this done, I'm happy to be here, but it's been a struggle. Next is, it's the experiences that shape you. So being online or staying home with your fam all the time does not lead to a transformative experience. So I already talked about that. I kind of jumped the gun a little bit, but that's just something that's really important to keep in mind. And what I'm not saying to never see your family again. I still see my family quite a bit, but I think that when you are leaning into college and you're having fun with your friends, you won't really want to see your family all the time because you're busy. You're a busy gal or dude. So that's basically what I'm saying. Like, you're not neglecting them. They understand that you're in college. They understand that this is an important time. So yeah, I think just understanding that as well. Also, get comfortable asking for help when you need it. So asking for help is really hard if you're as stubborn as I am, but things in college are a lot harder than they were in high school. I'm not saying that it's anything you're not capable of doing, but there are times when you're going to need to ask for help, whether that's with homework or, moving, or just going to therapy because you realize you can't do it on your own. You're going to need someone to help you. Anything in any range, you're going to need to ask for help. So making sure that you are able to do that is so important. Also, get comfortable saying no. So like I mentioned, if your family wants you to come home, which they should understand if you say no because you're in college, but saying no if you need to set boundaries, saying no if you need a self-care night, saying no if it doesn't align with your values, your morals, or who you're becoming as a person. There's a lot of reasons that you would say no, and just be comfortable with saying that, because as you grow and become more of an adult, it's going to get easier and easier, but the first step is doing it in the first place. Also, don't overfill your schedule. Rookie mistake, I did this every single time, and I'm not talking about credit hours. I took 17 credit hours pretty much every semester, and I was living my best life. I'm talking about everything else. Don't make your schedule so full that you don't have a night to yourself, or you don't have time, so that if your friends say, hey, let's go to dinner, you have to say no because you're already busy. Make time for the little things because they're gonna come. Whether that's having a self-care night, whether that's your friends texting you. There's so many things that are gonna pop up that you're gonna wish that you made time for. And also, don't get burnt out. Sis, you wanna talk about burnout? Been there, done that. She's my worst enemy. She's also my closest friend because I'm always burnt out. But basically, making sure that you are taking time to rest, refuel, make time for friends, and just not overflowing your schedule to the point that you don't have any time whatsoever to breathe or do anything else. And lastly, for this episode is get to know yourself. This means your music taste, food you like, your style, and on a deeper note, question your beliefs, and if it's something that you truly believe, or if it's something that you were raised to believe and you don't actually agree with, you know, don't be afraid to dissect your beliefs and dive into what you most closely align with. Get some books, read into your faith, or, you know, your general beliefs in a sense of work style, how you think the world should go, your religion, politics. There's so many things that you have been raised to think should be a certain way. And I'm not saying that your parents' beliefs are wrong. I still identify with my community in a lot of ways, but there are some things that I've adopted and kind of thought about and looked into that weren't there when I was growing up and are not exactly even close to what my community believed growing up, that I had to dive into and find out for myself. So I highly, highly, highly recommend doing this. And if you don't do this your freshman year, that's fine. I probably would say for most people, freshman and sophomore year is more about partying and getting used to where you are and not having responsibilities, because your junior and senior year, you're going to have more internships. You're going to start looking at careers. You're probably going to be adulting. You're going to probably have a job of some sort. You most likely will have one freshman through senior year, but you'll probably most definitely have a job junior and senior year. So if you're going into freshman year, don't even worry about it. That may come with time. I like to say that no one really matures until their second semester of junior year. You notice a shift in everyone. And my friends and I used to talk about this specifically with boys, because we would be like, they're so frustrating. And then we'd say, oh my gosh, their second semester of junior year is coming up. It's going to be fine. And like clockwork, literally like magic, it would be fine. Like they would just mature overnight. And so I think that that's a big thing to consider. But I think that's everything I want to say in this episode. I will do a part 2 if you want me to, so go ahead and comment down below. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It would mean the absolute world to me. It would help out my podcast so much. Don't forget to also join the community on Instagram and TikTok, as well as, like I mentioned, follow or subscribe depending on what platform you're listening on, YouTube, because we are a community of girlies working to become our best version of ourselves, our version of that girl, so whatever that means to you. But I really appreciate you guys listening. I didn't do a life update, so I guess I'll do one now if you guys want to listen. But what I've really been up to is super short and sweet. I've just been trying to realign with myself and kind of center myself so that I have a better understanding of who I am, what I'm doing going forward. I've also been working on meditating and getting back into my manifestation, because I have been manifesting, but I kind of took a break going into grad school, so it hasn't been as strong or as much, but I want to get back into it. So that's what I've been doing. A lot of meditation, a lot of shadow work, if you know what that is. It's just journaling to kind of get down to the roots of like your trauma or what you would typically go to therapy for, which I need to do that as well, but basically just trying to become my best self and grow as a human being. So if you want me to talk about my spiritual side, I would be happy to talk about that as well. But I don't want to talk about it if no one's interested, because that would be like, But I think that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, got something out of it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.